You ever want to be a kind of unique little snowflake, endearingly? Make a team in 2xKO because you're really quirky, pair the littlest guy with the biggest guy. One's just like a friendly dude, maybe gives off performative 28 to 40-year-old at the cafe energy, but is ultimately a good male role model, kind of built like a reverse Joe Rogan. The other, that's Mini Hitler. What a funny team. What a goof. Then all of a sudden you're almost at Grandmaster and just so happen to stumble into a team that's actually kinda good. That's me. I'm the special boy in this story. I have been playing Braum Teemo since the early access of Project L, and not because of I Heart Justice, although he is probably more equipped to talk about this than I am. Partially because the game only gives you one character token to begin with, and while I was ready to play Ekko Jinx some more, I really wanted to try the smallest character in the game. Might as well make this a chance to play something new entirely, and in the process stumbled into a team that I like a lot more. Fundamentally, the zoner and the defender makes a lot of sense, and their simple game plan might leave a lot of room on the table for other teams to mix up their way to death's door. However, what they lack in mix, they make up for in a rock-solid ability to feed into each other's win conditions. This is not the most flashy team in the world, it's just a very reliable one. Based on Yasuo's combo length, quite frankly, I'm sick of flashy teams. Bold Boy is your damage, and so long as he has Unbreakable, you can basically play him solo. Armor on all your mediums makes him a nightmare to trade with and lets you get some hits in where most characters have to gamble on a parry. However, he still struggles to get into that state by himself, and that's where Teemo comes in. Teemo at the moment is busted. Solo, the zoning isn't you exist at full screen, it's just nightmare angles that slow the game down, which are perfect for our purposes. When Teemo does jump back Pebble, you tag in Braum. If Braum or the Pebble hits, you can tag instantly to get Unbreakable. When it doesn't hit, you're still breezy. Braum has a big health ball, so you don't have to worry too much about him getting hit early. And you can always save him with a slingshot, at which point you put up your typical projectile wall and burn the tag timer until you try it again. This is a fairly reliable round start option, and even after that I'd give it a big ol' rinse and repeat. On top of that, you can also combo into Braum every time. Use the shovel, use Shoryu, get downstairs and pop a super. Now you have Unbreakable. Yippee! If you're rocking double down, like I am, you can also catch your opponents off of Teemo's Super 1, not to mention the usual time your buttons correctly to get a regular tag combo, which is actually better if you just so happen to have Unbreakable already. On the flip side, Teemo not only stalls the timer to give Braum more opportunities to set up, but also has Braum provide secure opportunities to set up the field. Teemo can super jump, hover at the apex, spend as much time there as he likes, and just call assist underneath if he really wants. It's a gormless way to play, but if I'm being honest, it works well enough. If that fails, what do? Well, you got a quality opportunity to set up shrooms and bushes, maybe even get like darts up on the field. I don't think you should do darts though. 99% of my time will be setting up a pebble because I'm stupid. But a bush in a space that you can confirm you won't be in the next 4 seconds is ideal to give you flexibility in positioning and give both of your characters more opportunity to set up their win condition. Oh no, one of them died. This is so sad. Behold, debatably the two best super assists in the game. Ones that push both characters into their strongest positions. Braum's super assist pushing the opponent back or forcing them to parry lets Teemo do Teemo things. Hold down the neutral while I go and practice my botany. Teemo's super assist helps to push the opponent into a position where they're forced to handle Braum at his best. They're backing up and sacrificing space, eating chip, and now in a position where they have to challenge Braum. Incredible when you do have Unbreakable, but even without it you can still play a nasty game of simple mix-ups for guaranteed reward on block, or even look for a tick throw, although results may vary in that regard. This is an everything super though. To say Braum is uniquely capable of working well with it would be a bit of an overstatement. He actually struggles to convert if the opponent jumps into the shrooms since he can't reach the opponent. Something that would be a funny little quirk if the opponent didn't also get the chance to tech forward after it, meaning that under the wrong circumstance, you end up putting yourself in a 50-50 and potentially throwing away all of the advantage because of it. As you might be able to tell, this is a team I'm playing in a way that basically revolves around set up Braum and getting Teemo going as a happy accident. Is that an optimal way to play the team? No, not exactly. The others that I've played against seem to have it basically the other way around, or as a wiser man probably said, create an actual game plan. Once you have both of the characters set up, you can rotate both characters around to heal each other and keep each other alive. An infinite little circle of grey health. And the mix of both characters being able to run the timer, one as an active no-go zoner and the other being a hard-to-challenge pick-your-spot nightmare, keeps both characters in a prime position. Braum can always implode someone given that the timer isn't too low, and Teemo almost always benefits from burning the clock. It's a perfect pairing. Except, this is a team that I think has a best before date, of which is set for a very vague soon. There's some really glaring flaws in this setup. Sure, they pair well, they might make a tight plan, they're also in a game with this, and even in the case of raw strategy, they're likely to get mogged by an inventive user that comes along somewhere later down the line. Both characters having the momentum of the Quap guy means that they struggle against runaway, not necessarily zoning. If you can catch the timing, Braum can handle a lot of this okay, but you don't have the best ability to really catch up with another character without holding forward in a way that's kinda risky. Both normal assists are great at covering a little bit of space in front of them, but even Braum forward assist, it's not exactly my time. It becomes a real problem when they have a lead and the timer's hovering around 30 seconds. If you don't catch them within 20 seconds, even with Braum, you're probably not imploding the opponent. Right now, the game's looking to evolve in a very movement-heavy fashion where runaway is effective. Something I actually like for the game since it gives the game a strategic identity that's not really seen in any of the contemporary fighters at the moment. Pair that with lackluster mix and you're also looking at some serious issues against a defensively minded player. Even excluding Yasuo Ekko that will left-right corner steal, pressure sandwich, you're also not looking to apply an urgency to act like Alawi Darius, or Jinx Darius, or Dario Yasuo, or Yasuo Ekko. What results is a team where advantage can and will slip away quickly if you're trying to push your luck. And when that's combined with one character who needs to be in a very specific state to be scary, and the other who needs distance to escape into, you have a team that feels very much feast or famine the higher the skill level you go, without some of the more commanding presence of other teams that share the same flaw. That doesn't mean they're bad in any sense. This isn't a gimmick team the way that I was expecting it to be. They just have glaring flaws to pair with their incredible defensive strengths. When you have Unbreakable on deck and a position that forces your opponent to approach, this team can really feel unstoppable. At least until my time hits the screen, but that's another problem for another day. If you want a team that asks you to put a couple of hard reads in early but rewards you heavily once you've made the right choice, this is your team. If you want a team that doesn't depend on learning the most elaborate mix, this is your team. If you have a 9 to 5, this isn't really your game.
I think you'd be more comfortable over at that place.
Now, if you don't mind me, I'm going to disappear.
My time.